forget. And so we are now recording. I'm going to try to keep it a little short and painless today. Most of what you need should be available already to you on the e-learning platform. And it's completely up to you. If you want to turn your video off, now is okay to do so. If you want to leave it on, that's fine too. So I have a lecture video up already in e-learning for chapter 33. Sorry, I'm having some technical lighting issues too. Yay. So I have a lecture video up of chapter 33 under the resources tab, and I believe I also have it plugged in under the coursework, just trying to make it real easy for y'all to find. Don't you love my light? So I also already have chapter 34 up. And Sean, while I'm thinking about it, tomorrow, one of my first thing in the morning projects, we still haven't gotten the textbook, so I will be diligently printing out the next chapter's worth of work so that you'll have it to do your homework and stuff Friday and moving forward.
I just want to save the trees.
Right, I know, right? Oh, they were not speaking specifically of our program, but I did hear a rumor where another group is waiting until possibly September before they get their textbooks. I'm hoping, dear Lord, that that is not our case, but it could possibly be. Hopefully not. Hopefully. And there's Miss Deanna. Good evening, ma'am. And we are already recording if you did not notice.
She is never on time.
So anywho, I mean, it's our first time to do Zoom in a good little bit. I can give a little leniency on getting logged in. I got to thinking about it. I think it's been since February, the last time we did a Zoom meeting. So as I was saying though, your chapter 33 and chapter 34 lectures are already recorded. The PowerPoints are available to you under the resources tab. There's an extra credit assignment listed in your coursework today. Did everybody find that? There's an extra study guide help packet in that extra credit if you want to take the time to go through those extra steps. That would be very beneficial for you in preparing for tomorrow's test, which is basically what I'm going to kind of sort of do a little bit of a review of this evening is we'll review chapter 33 for those of you that might not have taken the test, or like I'm so confused now as to which test opens when. Just 33 I think is tomorrow. Oh, am I correct? Y'all didn't have a test today?
Lord, these tests.
I know, and they're like boom, 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 boom. We had 4 tests this week alone that I had to type very quickly when they decided, hey, we can't come to campus. It's like, no.
Did they say when we would come back?
Right now, they're planning for us to return as normal on Monday. I have not heard anything different on that, and that was the last word that I did receive. That's the plan. Let me see. I'm just trying to get to a page here so I can tell y'all accurately which tests are when this week. Of course, it's on the news and announcements page as well. But yes, your chapter 33 test is tomorrow, so there is no test today. Chapter 34 test will be on Thursday along with the weekly quiz. All of those are going to be online. At some point tomorrow, there's not going to be a grade attached with it, but I hope to get the Kahoot links up so that y'all can utilize those to practice in addition to the worksheet that we did on Monday. Because all I can say about Kahoot is please be reviewing your drugs, your SIGs, and your classifications, because that test is still going to happen on Thursday. So make note cards. Go to easynotecards.com if you want to prefer to do the electronic note cards, that's fine. But we're not meeting in class to do the Kahoots and things that we would normally do to help get this into your brain. So you're kind of on your own with that this week, and be mindful of that. set aside, you know, if it's just 10, 15 minutes a day to look over them, study them, write them, rewrite them, whatever your method of learning is, do take the time to be looking over that. Because again, that test is still going to happen on Thursday. So with regards to chapter 33, the review section of our meeting this evening, I did want to point out specifically, there is one question where I'm afraid that the terminology might trip you up just a little bit. And the question says to list 3 types of birth controls. Now, when it's using the word types there, that question is not asking you to tell me, oh, it's available in a tablet form, it's available as an IUD. I'm not even wanting you to give me the names of these products like Triphasal or Implanon or any of that. What I'm wanting when it's asking for types is I want you to be able to tell me that we have hormone contraception, we have topical contraceptives, and we have contraceptive devices. Those are the answers I'm looking for when you see the questions regarding types of birth control. So I just wanted to be very clear on that as you all begin to study and look over the information. Like I said, I'm not really lecturing chapter 33 because there is a recorded lecture video. If you have not viewed the video yet, I encourage you to at least look over it before you try to dive off into the test tomorrow. Again, the video is me lecturing with the PowerPoint slides. You may or may not want to go back to those PowerPoint slides without me, you know, yammering away as you study. And that's fine if that's the way you learn. Do utilize that study guide. Your answer key is going to post at midnight. So that key will be available to you first thing in the morning when you get up so that you can make sure you've been studying the correct information before you dive off into that test tomorrow. I can tell you that this test, you're going to want to know your vocabulary terms. There is a matching section where you're going to match the term to the definitions. It is a lot of the highlighted terms, but there are a couple of italicized terms that you find throughout the chapter that are going to be on the test. One of them in particular I can think of off the top of my head is cervixitis. It is not highlighted, but it is italicized. And that is one of the terms that you need to know the definition to. And that was cervixitis. So if you see a word that's bolded throughout chapter 33, take note of it. Make sure you know that definition. Know your brands and your generic names for your ED medications. Cialis, Levitra in particular. You need to know the brand and the generic names. You need to know what BPH stands for. Your textbook goes over a number of sexually transmitted diseases, and there is one type specifically that is caused by a virus. You need to know which type that is. There's also another type that is specifically caused by a parasite, and you need to know which STD that is. You also want to be able to tell me where mature sperm are stored. Sorry, my husband's 2 years old. You also want to be able to tell me approximately how many sperm reach the egg after ejaculation. And there's a paragraph under male fertility that goes through the details of how many sperm are released, how many actually survive the environment, and then how many actually reach the egg. That's what the question's asking for. How many ultimately wind up at the egg? You also need to be familiar with the toxic effects of hormone contraception, because you'll need to be able to identify the item that is not a toxic side effect. You need to know what percentage of infertility cases have no known cause. So look up that number if you don't already know it. Be familiar with the risk that increase male infertility. Things like bicycling, being over 40, et cetera, because there's going to be a question that's going to ask you which of the following is not. You need to know, I already covered that. There is another term utilized in chapter 33 for the word birth control, and you want to know what that other term is. The birth control is also known as, and you need to be able to provide me with that. You want to be familiar with the dosage forms that are available for topical spermicides. There's going to be a question that wants you to identify which one is not. And if I go too fast for you on any of these, first know that I am going to post the recording. It will be available to you to go back and re-review. You can also, wave your hand in front of the camera, unmute yourself, grab my attention, let me know, slow down or something. I get it. It's different when we're doing it on video and sometimes it drags. So the last thing I covered was knowing the dosage forms that are available on topical spermicides. You also need to be familiar with the items, or there's a list of drugs in the textbook that are contraindicated with birth control. I'm trying to find the page number for you. Table 33-2 on page 565. Be familiar with those items that interact with oral birth control. And again, it's going to be one of those questions, which one is not? So you need to know which ones are. Know the definition, which I mentioned knowing most of your definitions, but you most specifically want to know the definition of an IUD. Be able to recognize the description of it. And yes, no, there are 3 different questions about the brand and generic names of the erectile dysfunction medications. So please do know those. And does anybody have any questions on chapter 33?
Ma'am.
Okay, good. So the next chapter is going to be chapter 34. And I'm not, again, there's a recording up of me reading through the chapter, doing a lecture with the PowerPoint slides in play. And the PowerPoint slides are also available to you under the resources tab without me chatterboxing in the background. But I could tell you that chapter 34 is going to cover the nervous system, and the nervous system breaks down into a couple of different components. You're going to want to make sure that you, as you go through chapter 34, that you pay attention to what those different components are and be able to differentiate them from one another. You have your central nervous system, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It's the central driver. And then that's going to break down into your peripheral nervous system. You also have a sympathetic nervous system, a parasympathetic nervous system, a somatic nervous system, and an autonomic nervous system. So as you go through chapter 34 and you're looking at those various nervous systems, do make sure that you're notating and, you know how we do when we play Kahoot and stuff with things. It's going to be the same way as you go through chapter 34. Find something to associate those various nervous systems with the definition so that you can, link the two, get them memorized into your brain. You're definitely going to want to pay specific attention to the information regarding dendrites and axons. You also want to be real clear on the difference between afferent and efferent as you go through the chapter. There's going to be some information regarding the blood-brain barrier. That's what keeps substances from entering our brain system from the circulation. You know, we're exchanging blood and things, but we don't necessarily want all electrolytes and everything else rushing up to our brain. So we have a blood-brain barrier. It has a number of functions. You'll find the information regarding this on page 585 of your textbook when you get ready to study. I just wanted to kind of go over its basic properties. It's going to allow water soluble or low lipid and fat soluble molecules to not penetrate the brain. It keeps them out, and it does just the opposite, allows those high lipid and fat soluble molecules such as barbiturates and rapidly cross that blood-brain barrier into the brain, because we want some things to get into the brain, just not everything. And I see it's kind of freezing and pausing up a little bit. The peripheral nervous system is the one that really breaks down into some of those other varieties that I was speaking of. Waiting on my video. Well, and of course now my computer wants to just like take a nap. Gotta love technology. All right, well, my video was clearly cutting up, so I'm gonna turn that off. But the breakdown on the various nervous systems that I was referring to with the autonomic, sympathetic, parasympathetic, this is all found under the peripheral nervous system, and that information is on page 585. You will have a lab come up by, I want to say it's on Thursday, that's going to require you to do a small experiment at home. Please do not panic over it. It is a very minor experiment. It requires nothing but your body and a doorway and a pencil and maybe a timer. Outside of that, you're not going to need any supplies. It's something easy that you can do at home. But it's a phenomenon that was discovered back in the late 1800s. It's neat to experience if you've not experienced it before. Sorry, got a little sidetracked there. Back to the chapter 34 though, as you get past the anatomical features of the nervous system, you know, the various parts of the brain, there are a number of questions about those various parts of the brain. So please, as you read through and do those assignments and go through that material, pay particular close attention to those various parts of the brain, the cerebellum, the medulla oblongata, those various parts is what I'm referring to, and keeping track of which parts do what, which parts contain the white and gray matter, so on and so forth, because that's going to come back up later. But as you get past the anatomy of the nervous system, you'll start coming to the disorders and ailments that plague our nervous system. That's going to lead into some of your anxiety disorders. You, again, are going to want to be able to differentiate depression from bipolar disorder, from, you know, psychosis. And then when you get into the section that covers anxiety specifically, it's going to break it down into quite a few different types of anxiety. We have social anxiety, generalized anxiety. These anxieties are abbreviated. You need to pay attention to that as well. Also pay attention when you hit the section regarding ADD and ADHD and the medications that are utilized to treat it. There are a number of questions regarding that information on your test as well. Just want you to be aware of that going into this as you begin, so that you can study accordingly, because this module ends on Thursday. The test is on Thursday, and I need to be posting your grades by the end of business on Friday. So anybody that needed anything opened, one or two of you have hit me up. I've opened it right up for you. As quick as I notice the message, sometimes I have my phone on silent and I don't always notice right away, but as soon as I spot it, I will try to get back to you. But if you notice anything that you might have missed or overlooked, that I might have missed or overlooked, just shoot me a message and I'll get that open back up for you. Because again, I've got to have your grades in by the end of Friday. Also a chapter 34, now that I've come off the little grade box, towards the end, you start encountering convulsions, seizures, and epilepsy. That also section again is going to get into some various types that you need to be able to differentiate from one another. So keep that in mind as you go through that section as well. There's a lot of information in chapter 34. And I will warn you now, even the recorded lecture is a little bit lengthy on that one. So that's going to be one of those that I highly recommend you tackle a few minutes at a time. Watch 15, 20 minutes of it. Get up, go get you a bite to eat, do the dishes, whatever. Step away for a minute, reset, do a homework assignment, come back, watch another 15, 20 minutes. If you try to watch that all at one time, it's not going to benefit you. Just know that going in. So definitely break that video up. Any questions regarding chapter 34?
You said that the chapter 34 test is going to be Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Wednesday?
Thursday. Chapter 34 will be Thursday. And again, don't forget, you're going to have your drug SIGs and classifications on Thursday as well. So there's going to be 2 tests on Thursday. And I'm going to get those Kahoot links posted up tomorrow so that y'all can be practicing, something besides just your worksheets and making note cards to try to help you out. Again, I'm not going to require a grade on them. It's just going to be for practice purposes to help you out. And if anything comes up, because look, I get it, 40 minutes and, on Tuesday evening and again, 40 minutes on Thursday evening versus the 3.5 hours for 4 days a week that we would normally have together. It's not a lot. So if things come up in the meantime, you don't feel confident about the material, or maybe you just need a cheerleader on getting through the memorization. I mean, whatever it is, y'all reach out to me. I'm here for you. I'm on campus, extended hours right now because of y'all not being there, and I'm trying to make sure that everything online's handled. And I see my video still ain't right. But yes, I'm available to you. I don't know if you saw the post, from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. are my office hours right now. So y'all have got me for 14 hours a day. Anytime during that you need to reach out about anything that you consider commonplace, reach out. Of course, if an emergency arises, you can shoot me a message anytime with emergencies and I'll get to you as soon as I possibly can. But we're going to get through this week and hopefully we'll be back together on Monday. All right. Well, if y'all don't have any more questions for me, I know it's not quite a full 40 minutes, but I don't want to take away from some of the time you could be utilizing to be doing your assignments, watching those videos. I've got a lot of information and homework out there for y'all right now.
Yes, you killing us with these assignments. I was
I'm so
up
sorry.
for hours.
When we don't
That's
meet
it.
in the classroom, I have to have 5 hours worth of assignments online for you guys.
Literally.
I know. I know. Look, they're going behind us and they're going behind the instructors now and making sure that we're providing good quality instruction. They're making sure that there is 5 hours worth of assignments there. So that is the downside to not meeting in the class, is yes, I have to bombard you online. Yay! Hopefully we get back to class on Monday, right?
Yes. Hopefully.
All right. I don't know if you've noticed yet, but the meeting we're going to have for Thursday is actually going to start at 6:10, not 6 o'clock. I haven't engaged. I have a prior arrangement that I have to, or obligation is the word I was looking for. I have a prior obligation that does not conclude until 6 p.m. on Thursday. So we'll meet at 6:10. on Thursday. Same way on Zoom, same link, everything. All righty.
Yes.
All right. Y'all have a good night then.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.